Streaming services have been at war since executives realized just how much money Netflix was making. Now, with too many shows spread over too many different streaming services, nobody has won the war, but us, the consumers, have lost. The simplicity of streaming has made way for a reinvention of cable television, where in order to watch Fallout, you also have to pay for 2 days shipping. But during this battle, one small, independent platform kept making good content. Content that was for the most part free and high quality, and content that was not made by executives, but made by people, creatives, just like you and me. YouTubers won the streaming war in an oversaturated market by creating consistently quality content that everyone can enjoy for practically free. While YouTube today exists as this weird blend between corporate and independent, there are some YouTubers that tread this line beautifully, balancing high production quality with the simple independent nature that made YouTube so encouraging to begin with. A YouTube culture that encourages people to like and subscribe, please like and subscribe, to help build their channel and continue to make quality content. Now, I'll contend there are 3 types of quality content creators on YouTube, and each are in different categories. Now, these are not ranked, but these 3 categories just exist as different ways to categorize YouTubers. Each serves their own purpose, and each have their own way of producing high-quality content in this current YouTube sphere. 3 categories are publicly funded creators, studio productions, and independent streaming services. I'll bring up some examples as we talk about each of them, but keep in mind, these are YouTubers that I watch and I like. There are so many different YouTubers that fit into these categories. If you have one that doesn't get shown in this video, please let me know. I'd love to check it out. YouTube is so broad and allows for niches, and so all of these platforms can exist for your specific interest level, and I would love to know what that is. But let's begin with publicly funded creators, the ones powered by Patreon. Also YouTube membership. I guess YouTube really wants YouTube membership to be a thing. That focus on a very specific style and niche or personality. These creators rely on their audience to specifically fund their own creation. It's like crowdfunding every time a video is made, but instead of crowdfunding the project, you're funding the creator. You trust this person to create consistently good work, and thereby giving them money can make them make more of that. Their individuality and their specific style is part of what makes them a marketable creator. That's what you pay for. However, very few of these creators truly act independently. When you're operating on scales like this with money from Patreon, usually there's a small, sometimes bigger team of people surrounded by one central personality. Creating quality content by yourself is incredibly difficult, so most of these creators will have writers and editors and designers, people to help streamline the process of making things. Some examples of public funded creators: what about Brian David Gilbert, whose weird, idiosyncratic style is what many people subscribe to his channel for. His videos have no real structure or consistency, but people subscribe, I subscribe, and some people pay for his specific personality and what he brings to video making. It could be a cooking show, it could be a short horror film, it could be a 1-minute video about a dream that he had. But whatever it is, people are invested in it. Or Summoning Salt, whose historic documentation of speedrunning is incredibly good and one of the best in the field. Or Defunct Land, whose investigations into theme parks often ties into his own personal journeys with being a filmmaker. He balances this really wonderful line between narrative and emotional anecdotes. These creators strive on a platform that encourages unique, independent storytelling. Putting a Brian David Gilbert video next to Summoning Salt next to Cold Ones, all as publicly funded creators, is a variety of very different types of videos, but each of those have their niche and have their audience and are funded because of it. This is what is so great about YouTube as a service. You can subscribe specifically to the content you want to watch, as opposed to subscribing to all of Netflix and only watching Stranger Things. All of these channels strive on audience support, specific audience support. But what happens when a team of creators grows exponentially? As opposed to a small team of a few people, it's now an entire production company full of employees and writers and producers and people who work in management. These things are required to create content of this scale. I'm not saying any of these things are bad. By all means, if you need a company to make YouTube videos, if they're good YouTube videos, that's absolutely fine. This replica of studio television still operates independently and is free from the studio and executive influence of higher up stuff, except for a couple that defy expectations, I guess you can say. These channels have become the middle ground between standard cable television and internet storytelling. Primarily unscripted improv, talk shows, podcasts, things that you would find on typical free-to-air television, but online with people you know and people you can slowly build a relationship with. Cooking shows, game shows, so many different things. Joshua Weissman is this generation's Julia Child. Mr. Beast videos are 15 times shorter than your average movie and cost like half as much. The production quality of something like Mr. Beast is far above anything else and requires a full team of producers and editors and stars. Smosh is a channel that began as an independent, low-budget YouTube stuff, but since Anthony's departure has kind of gone even further into this studio system of improvised television. The Yogscast similarly began as a small gaming channel, but has now become a full production company that creates games and live streams and continuous content throughout multiple channels. Multiple channels is one of the basis of what makes a YouTube studio system. Smosh, the Yogscast, and Mr. Beast are all prime examples of this, having variety of different channels that provide different purposes, with a main channel dedicated to the content that fans can come to expect. This is the thing that always I thought was interesting with Smosh's return when Anthony came back and they bought it and became independent again and started doing sketch comedy again. Sketch comedy is no longer what I think of when I think of Smosh. It was when I was maybe 11 and 12 and was watching Smosh religiously and loved that. But now seeing those comedy sketch channels in this really high-produced way kind of made me go, oh, hang on, this is not what I come to this channel for anymore. I come to this channel for comedy improv stuff. This is not necessarily what I subscribed for. It's fine, and I'm glad that they're making it because they're showing that YouTube still has potential to make independent work. But I just thought it was an interesting thing of, oh, hang on, Smosh has changed. This isn't necessarily what Smosh is anymore. These spin-off channels allow for more niche content, stuff that might not necessarily exist on that main channel video. If Smosh had made a Smosh sketch channel, I think that would have been a much better idea. And all these side channels typically will get funded from YouTube membership. Yogscast has 2 kind of side channels for both tabletop role-playing and wargaming, which you can engage with for free, completely free. All of the core content on all of these channels you don't have to pay a cent for. And if you choose to support with YouTube membership, you then get bonuses and extra content. The main content is never locked behind a paywall, but you are rewarded for paying with extra content. This is how you do subscriptions. This idea that you come for the stuff that you like, and if you wish to give more, then you can. Patreon works the same way in these independent public creators. You want to see more of these people, more of the process, so you pay money to get extra access. But the core videos and the core things that are released onto YouTube are completely free. But what happens when the main content of a channel becomes too expensive to maintain? Some creators rely on consistent subscription in order to fund their original content. Teasers or free episodes are released onto YouTube, but are kind of more designed to draw you onto their specific streaming platform. Rooster Teeth, rest in peace, Corridor Digital, Sidemen, Dropout, all of these are independent streaming services that have free versions on YouTube. These services did not come from a vacuum, of course. They built their audience with the free content that they've created over the past 10 or so, or even more years, to build up an established audience that's ready to pay extra for premium content. Content that typically is not favored on YouTube as a platform. Rooster Teeth's animated television shows, Corridor Digital short films, Dropout sketch comedy, none of these typically will fit into what YouTube now encourages in its algorithm. So each have used their alternative platforms to help draw more attention to those types of art. Rooster Teeth First was the only way to get access to new seasons of RWBY and Genlock. Corridor Digital has long extended cuts of their React series, and Dropout. Yes, YouTubers as a whole have won the streaming war, but the real victory is Dropout. What an incredible streaming service. It's the only one I consistently pay for. Everything else I only, pay for a month or so whenever there's a new Disney or Marvel or Stranger Things. But Dropout consistently has quality content that's worth paying an annual subscription for. Dropout's production has definitely exceeded that of traditional YouTube. It's definitely more in line with traditional television now, and their independent studio system is kind of like a bigger version of Smosh. Now, for Smosh to be compared to Dropout is a good thing. I'm not saying Smosh is a bad version of Dropout. It's just like YouTube's version of Dropout. Dropout is now its own thing. Dropout exists in its own little bubble outside of the constraints of YouTube's studio system. They were able to break out of the constraints, whereas something like Smosh, which to this day is still the best prime example of a YouTube channel that has ridden the trends of YouTube consistently since its beginning, is still very much rooted in the conventions of YouTube. But Dropout shows how to take success like Smosh's and then make it into something else. Something different. Not something better, just something different. YouTube owes its success to creators like these, ones that have consistently created high-quality content that draws users to their platform. YouTubers who have ridden the waves of YouTube's trends and have adapted themselves to still make quality content despite all of the corporate changes that YouTube makes. Smosh is the perfect example of YouTube's goofy Wild West internet origins to now full-blown production companies, and it has made that leap gracefully despite all of the problems with its past parent company. Not Mythical, the other one. But more important than the creators creators are people like you, people who consistently watch YouTube and support the creators you like. Whether paying for merch or YouTube membership or Patreon or even a Dropout subscription. But regardless of monetary support, the best thing you can do is to keep watching. So thank you for watching. If you like this, please like and subscribe. I did this whole video about how YouTube creators are trying to build audiences. I'm trying to build an audience, so please let me know if there's a channel that you really like that wasn't included on this list and what tier you think they exist in. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next time.